Hello and welcome. My name is Florencia Colella and I am with Michigan State University Extension. Today we're going to go over an example of how to use the farm um, cash tracking spreadsheet. And I have Kimberly with me here who is going to play the role of a rancher, and we're going to work on her books. Kimberly, would you like to kind of introduce yourself or introduce the farmer that you're role playing as?
Hello, I'm Kimberly, and I have a ranch with cows, hay equipment. I cut hay and sell it to my neighbors. I feed it to my cows, and I sell steers and freezer beef.
Awesome. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and you may have watched another video where I explain how to get your own copy of our farm cash flow template. If you don't know how to get your own copy, you can go and watch that video. But for now, we're going to assume that you have your own and that you could do what we're going to do now, which is Kimberly has sent me graciously a copy of her bank statement, and I have that open around here. Uh, this is all fake numbers, but hopefully they will make some sense. Uh, so this is how her bank account downloads the transactions into Excel. Most banks, if not all these days, let you download your transactions in a format kind of like this one. So there's the date in the first column, a description, a check number, and an amount. Sometimes there's a running balance, um, but yes. So this is what hers looks like. This farm cash tracking spreadsheet has several tabs at the bottom here. There's a checking account, a bank um, tab, a petty cash tab, and other tab. You can rename these and make them fit uh, your farm. So Kimberly, for this farm, what we're working with is the checking account.
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to work with this tab. Um, and we're going to try to, you'll see that there's, our columns here are named a little differently than hers, and they're in a little different order. We have date, amount, and in her file, we had date, and the amount was over here. The description is right on the second column, and here our description is like on on this column over here. The gray cells have formulas, so we're not going to do anything with. But so in order to make things match, we have this Scratchpad tab. So I'm first going to paste her transactions from the Excel that she downloaded from the bank, and I'm going to paste it here. And now I'm going to try, maybe I'll make them a little wider so that I can better see. But I'm going to try to have them match this order here. So I need the amount to be on the second column. So going to my Scratchpad, and I'm going to grab the whole column with this little hand that shows up. I'm going to move it here. Now I have the description on the third column, but I need that to be on the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth after the amount. So I'm going to add a few columns in between. I can do that here with my left mouse button, and I'm inserting the column to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and those are kind of wide, but we can make them narrower. And then I have my description and the check number we are not really going to use, but okay. So right now I can just like select everything. And so this is now going from January to December. Um, so we're kind of like catching up with the whole 2024 year. Ideally, you'll do this once a month at least, rather than all at once at the end of the year. If you do it once a month, then you'll have to be careful to, not duplicate your transactions at the end of the month. But anyway, I just copied that and I'm going to go to this tab And I'm going to see if I can paste it here. I'm actually going to choose with my left mouse button to paste just the values, just in case the formatting is different or something. Okay, so what do I have here? I have my headings. I'm going to delete this row because I don't need that. But I have the dates, the amounts, everything fell like where it was supposed to go. Um, I I want these dates to kind of look more like, let me grab some formatting from this tab, see if I can make it look a little better. Or we could just make that column wider. Yeah, I like the dates more in this format, personally. You can tailor this however you want. But okay, the good thing is we already have everything where it's supposed to go. We have this totals tab and oh, things are already showing up here because we have some old numbers here, but because this is the 2023 year, but we're going to get rid of that. We're going to assume that we are starting with nothing, which doesn't really make sense because she said that she has livestock and cows and stuff. But um, at the beginning of 2024, we are supposed to have nothing. So we have all zeros here, although we actually pasted this here. Now, in order for my totals to start showing up in this totals tab is we need to categorize these. So this is our checking account. We have a debit card purchase at the feed store. So that means that we used our farm checking account to pay for that because she just said that this downloaded from her checking account. And this is feed. So I am going to look for my feed, purchase feed expense. This looks about right. So I'm just going to choose that. So when we go to the totals tab in the purchase feed expense, we have that here already. And this is the total for the year, and this is the month of January, all the way to the left. The other thing that we're going to have is a negative balance in our checking account because we assumed that we were starting from $0 in our checking account, and so we now have negative 1,200. That's fine. We'll work on that later. Like the whole idea of doing this, though, is that we are reconciling our bank statement. So at the end of January or at the end of the year, we're going to know how much is in our bank statement. And so we can actually rename these and say checking. And we know that at the end of, we could do it month by month again or not, but we'll always know what our ending balance is at the end of each month or at the end of the year. And so we need to make sure that they match. For now, we're working a little backwards, and so we're not going to pay attention to the balance until we're done categorizing. So let's see. Seems to be a gas payment, which also came out of our checking account. So I'm putting that here and choosing this one. Truck repairs. Do we have a repairs account? Equipment repairs. We paid for that with our checking account. We also paid for some utilities, it seems. Supplies. So, we don't know if these were crop supplies or
It
small
was more
tools.
small tools, hoses,
Thank
fittings.
you, thank you, thank you. Um, online online payment, custom haying from 2023 season. Is this custom haying you did for others or that
It's
you,
work that was done in 2023, but the payment came through in January 2024.
that's work you did for others, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
so you may be noticing that this time around, I put the farm checking account on this side because this is the account that's kind of growing as I receive that payment. And I'm going to put on the other one something about custom work income. So we have an account for that. And so I'm just choosing that now. Hay sales will work the same way. I have my farm checking on this side. And let's see if we have a hay. No, our crop. Yeah, I don't know if I have a feed income. Uh, no, so I'm gonna call this crop sales raised, perhaps.
That makes sense.
Okay, awesome, thank you. This one is just like this one that we had done before, so we can kind of um, cheat a little and copy that from up above. We also could, sometimes I do this myself, is filter. What was it called? I don't remember. Debit card purchase. I buy a lot of feed, so feed store. Oh, yeah. All right. Look at all of the transactions I have for the same thing. I can go boom. When I need to catch up for the whole year, this is what I do. Um, Again, that's not the right thing to do. We should be doing it at least monthly, but all right. Then we can go back to the whole thing and see what else are we missing. Okay, so we may buy a lot of diesel from Wesco or other. So let's see if we can filter by diesel. And we had already categorized one like that. So, all right, that's all or some of our fuel, at least all categorized already. Um, oh, uh, let's see if I have more diesel. Okay. Gas. I don't know why that one was not showing up, but checking. I guess it was a different merchant or something. Because this was our, yeah, Murphy and Wesco. So, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. So recurring purchase, insurance paid quarterly. So this is something that I paid out of my account. So um, I'm putting farm checking on that side, and I'll see if I have an insurance expense non-crop. That's what it seems to be. Insurance paid quarterly. I'm gonna assume this is not crop insurance, right?
Property insurance.
Property. Okay,
Mhm.
then that works. And please stop me, Kimberly, if you feel like something does not accurately describe what happened at your farm.
Sounds good.
Okay. We did have some repairs, which are equipment repair. So this is the same. So I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to copy paste. Co-op distributions is money that I received. I believe, Kimberly, if I'm not wrong. Um, and so that went into my checking account. And let's see, co-op stock and equity. Uh, co-op distributions. I want to look at my accounts for a second. I want to see if I have an income account for that. Co-op distributions.
You have just other income?
Yeah, we could use that. Because we have some distributions and stuff, but that's like from our business. And this sounds to me like this is distributions that you received from a co-op that you sell to,
Hmm.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have to be somewhere in our income. I'm surprised we have patronage dividend income. I think that could be a good one. Custom word. I think I'm going to put it in that one. Do you have a preference or a reason to go one way or the other, Kimberly?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so I'm going to call it patronage dividends. Utilities. We had a utilities expense here. Maybe we actually can. Hmm, what would you call them?
Try electric company.
Okay, let's see. Thank you. Awesome. That has helped a little. And we have veterinary expenses that came out of our checking. So, and the reason, not always things can be less than clear if we are only looking at the negatives and positives here. So if that helps you, that's fine. But I don't typically trust these a whole lot. Okay, but anyway, so came out of checking and veterinarian expenses, recurring purchase, supplies. Supplies, and we said, did you say it was small tools usually, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, let's see if we can filter by supplies and kill a few birds with one stone. Now we have lots of tractor supplies. As well, these will not all be in the same category, but let's take a look at them. Okay. This one, ouch. Can I assume that this and this and this and this and this and this are small tools in shop?
Yeah.
And these ones are fence, building and fence. Okay, thank you. So we'll do the same for this one and this one. Oh, and if you're doing this at some point and we have an easier time because Kimberly has graciously already kind of like put some notes here so that to kind of remind us what each of these were for. But if you are doing this at the end of the year and you just downloaded this from your bank portal, it's not going to give you these many hints. So the one thing that you can do is go to your receipts list, which I explained in another video, but uh, you will be able to have, notes, and you can find this transaction by looking for the amount and the date, which you have here as well. Um, and you can have, I don't know if I put a column here about, yeah, we have a description. So, in this column, you can add some notes when you take the picture of the receipt to help yourself categorize. Okay. Insecticide crop. Um, mm,
Chemicals.
chemicals. Yeah, I was okay. Let's see if we bought more insecticide. Hunting charges. Is this money that you made? Looks like
Yeah,
it.
that's what we charge people to
Okay.
hunt on our property.
Okay. So do we have hunting? No, this would be other income, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, unless there's something. Let's look at our income accounts. None of these. Insurance, real estate. I mean, it could be a rental, but I think other farm income or miscellaneous farm income works well. All right. Debit card feed. Let's see. Feed. Oh,
Fertilizer?
oh, did I look at the wrong line? Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Check for fertilizer. So, okay. We bought some fertilizer from our checking account. And this is also fertilizer and lime that we bought. So, except that this was a check, but
Mm-hmm.
we're categorizing them the same. Hunting charges again. Bet expenses. Or do we have a branding? Identification. Okay, maybe we don't have like an account that describes that a little closer. Well, we have tons, tons of expense accounts, so I'm not going to go over all of them. Hopefully by now, if you're going to be using this file, you've gone over all of those accounts and you've only kept the ones that you feel make sense to you. So I'm gonna call this vet and med. This is recurring X. Kimberly, do
Mm-hmm.
you know about this one? Do you remember? Did you take a
That
picture of
one
your receipt?
was something to do with the well. I had to get something from Amazon to fix the well.
Okay, I'm gonna call this building and fence repairs. Um, and there may be a better account, but this is the best one that I can think of right now without looking at each account there. Transfer to savings. So, this is a little tricky. So we would do the same thing with our savings accounts if we have a savings account. So this one, I'm actually going to rename to savings. If we are transferring money to our savings account and we're going to try to kind of keep both reconciled, is here, this came out of the checking account. So I'm going to put that here. And here I'm going to say that I transferred. It's a transfer. And that's one of the reasons I suggest that we don't really trust all the time the negatives and positives, because when I download my statement from the savings account from the bank, it's going to have like something just like that, with perhaps the opposite, sign. Um, doesn't matter. It's on this end, it's going to be positive to the savings account. And I don't really think we have accounts. We have additional farm bank accounts, but if you want to have savings here in your total, by the way, see how all of this has updated already. Um, and this is the 5,100 dollars that we transferred into the savings accounts. I could rename this to savings to make it more accurate. I can actually do that right now. Savings. Actually, I'm going to say farm savings. And you see how all of that went away because this one, and I'm seeing this invalid thing here because what I had here is not valid anymore because it's gone from the other tab. So I'm going to look for farm savings. And now the red corner is gone and I see my 5,100 here again. And this is a little more descriptive of what I actually have. But okay, anyway. So we use transfer when we are going to transfer that money somewhere else. But whenever we do that, we need to make sure that the incoming transfer is also being accounted for. Otherwise, we have this line here that right now it's showing all zeros because my transfers are all balanced. If I hadn't entered this one here, so suppose that I delete that amount there, I'm showing that there's a transfer that came out of somewhere but didn't go anywhere. So that's why we have this line here. This one should always have zeros, even if transfers are happening across accounts. So I'm gonna bring that back over there. I have all my zeros here, and I can keep going. Government payment, this is income, so it came into my farm checking. And I do have a government payments account. I have insurance paid, which I already had done, so I'm gonna cheat. And I'm gonna copy that into all of these. Truck repairs. Equipment, building. Okay, we're gonna do this. Came out of the checking. Veterinary expense. Since we do have some veterinary expenses, maybe we can do them all at once. Okay, that was just a few, but and we don't know about this one, but maybe Kimberly can give us a hint on this one.
Fixing a drinker. So just small supplies that I needed for fixing that.
Okay. Our supply, small tools and shop supplies or repairs. I'm gonna call it building and fence repairs. Financial record keeping software subscription. So, did you pay $800? Okay, I'm not surprised.
Annual subscription, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Came out of farm checking, and this would probably be other farm expenses. I don't know if we have a better uh, other payroll, other farm expenses. Okay, hay sales. This is income, right? Oh, no, so that actually is wrong, and farm checking has to be here, and crop sales raised. Equipment repairs. So this came out of the checking and repairs. Cull cows sold. So I received money and okay. So here's an example of let's see. I think this would be breeding. So these are my income accounts. And a cull cow would be, I'm going to say breeding livestock sales raised. So this is great. You don't necessarily need to do anything else for your livestock sales if you don't want to. However, usually farmers will want to do a year-end farm financial analysis or balance sheet. So if you want to keep track of your livestock inventory throughout the year, it may not be perfect. And at the end of the year, you are still going to have to kind of like do a balance sheet from scratch. But if you want to have something to look at, other than just go out and count your animals, we have this asset list. Just like we have your bank assets, your checking and your savings accounts, we have these accounts where you can keep track of your vehicles value, your machinery value, and your breeding livestock value. So assuming that you had some cows when the year started, which would make sense if you sold five, we could say you had, I don't know, 100. Um, then you may want to adjust your inventory when you did sell those cows. Um, what you can do if you are wanting to do that is this happened on July 15th. So I'm copying this whole line and I am taking it to the other tab. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually not using this. I'm just like taking the value and the date from here. What I'm going to adjust is my breeding livestock inventory. So this account here, breeding livestock inventory raised. So I'm going to find that one here, livestock inventory raised. And on the opposite side, I have an adjustments, inventory adjustments account. This is going to help, hopefully, adjust that inventory down. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the problem is here that it was not 100. This is not in head count. It's in value. So I'm going to I'm going to create a formula here. I'm going to say if my 100 cows were, I don't know, $900 each at the beginning of the
Do you
year.
want the actual numbers?
Sure, please.
Okay, at the beginning of the year, there were 57 breeding cows, and I valued them at 1,600 each.
Thank you. All right. So we see here that in July, my inventory of breeding cows adjusted down to those 45, adjusted down by those 45 that were worth the five that I sold. Um, so it's two separate journal entries that we're making. One to record the income from the sale, and we can just stop there if we want. But if we want some additional tracking of our animal inventory value in this other tab, because this is not really something that happened with our checking account, so we use a separate tab for that. We can add that here. We can record when we harvest a crop, we can record that here when our inventory increases and stuff like that. All right. Over here we have an equipment, the sale of a piece of equipment. So this is money that came into the farm checking account. And so this is a little different than regular income or regular expenses because it's an asset. It's kind of similar to the cows that were sold. So we are going to want to record the sale, but we don't really have an income category for the sale of equipment. If you look at all of these, I have, and there is not one. So what you do is you offset your transaction with just the equipment account. Equipment, no, maybe it's not called equipment, it's called machinery. And so with this transaction, we're going to be decreasing our our total value of the machinery that we own. So we actually here machinery, it's showing a negative 400, showing us if we would have started with zero, which doesn't really make sense. Kimberly, do you have a real number that you want to give me, or do I make something up?
That was an old rake that was sold for 400. I bought it in 1992 for $2,700.
Okay, well, we would have to do some, do you know, we sold it for 400. Do you know how much it would have been worth at the beginning of 2024?
At the beginning, it probably would have been worth about 500.
Okay. Or we could just say 400, but Okay, so now we have a problem, right? Our machinery was worth 500. We sold it for 400, and now we have 100 worth of machinery, but we don't really have a rake anymore. So assuming that that was the only piece of equipment that we had, we do also need to make an adjustment to kind of get rid of this piece of equipment of the value, of that difference. So we're going to do the same trick that we did before with the cows. So I'm going to grab this just to help myself a little, and I'll put that here. And instead of doing all of this, I actually am going to use my machinery. Um, I'm going to put this here because I want to decrease my machinery, the value of my machinery account by 100, by 100. I need to change this. And I'm also going to use my inventory adjustments. Let's see if that worked on the file side. Yes. So I had 500 worth of machinery. Now I have 0. But my income, well, it's going to be hard to tell. My farm checking, because that might not be the only thing that happened in July. But my farm checking increased by 400 only. Hopefully that makes sense. And yes, we do have several transactions that happened in July, so it's going to be hard to tell. But maybe actually if we moved this to, sorry, I'm going to change things a little here, then I'll bring them back. But let's say that that happened in August so that we can see that in the, so August, our farm checking.
You already have transactions that you
In
copied from
all
other,
right, yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I can delete them. I'll bring them back in just a second. But it's still not doing what I want it to do. Why? Did I delete this one? I didn't. Oh, it's 2025. Oh, I've made too many changes now. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so just just to test it out, I'm gonna delete all of these. I'm going to make this one August 1st, 2024. And I'm gonna make this one also, no, this one, August 1st, 2024. And hopefully now the difference between this one and this one is $400. Yeah, it is. So
All
my
right.
farm checking only changed by $400. The value of my equipment changed by 500. Were you gonna say something, Kimberly?
Nope, just good job.
All right, okay. I'm gonna now undo all of those changes. Oh, that should stay. All right. So we are here, tire maintenance, equipment repairs and maintenance. Ouch, ouch. Farm checking. Vehicle repairs, equipment maintenance. Freezer beef. Seems to be income, so I'm putting farm checking on this side. And let's see. I don't think I have a beef account. Um, oh, we have a livestock product sales raised, so I'm going to use that one. You can tailor these to your own ranch if you need to. Okay. Debit cartridge service. Maintenance. Yep. Um, what's this one? Kimberly, the
Small
Amazon.
tools and shop supplies.
All right, thank you. Custom haying. This is money you received, right?
Yes.
How had I categorized? Transfer, we have another transfer. So this came out of the farm checking and into the transfers account. And we're going to, let's see if there's more. We can do them all at once. Oh, that was the last one. Okay. So we have the 5,100 and we also have, so I'm putting an offsetting thing here just so it works because I have not copied my um, savings statement in here, but I know that at least these two transactions will be part of my savings statement. Ideally, I wouldn't do what I'm doing. I would just copy the whole thing here and then categorize accordingly. Okay. Check for seeds and plants. So this is money came out of here, right? This is seed that I bought, right, Kimberly?
Correct.
Okay. Equipment we have here, another one. Let's see if we have more with John Deere. So we've had a couple already. Oh, that was the last. So we're already in November. Was not that painful. Just a little. Do you remember anything about this November 7th one, Kimberly?
No, but I would assume it's just small tools and shop supplies.
Okay, thank you. Beef processing. So you paid for beef processing, I assume.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I have a better account, but for now, I'm gonna say it was other farm expenses. Rent. So is this rent that you're paying someone else for land?
No, that's
Or
what we're charging
yeah, okay.
for rent.
So I put farm checking on the left and let's see if we have real estate rental income. Okay. We're gonna choose this one and 18 steers sold came into my farm checking and raise steers. So I'm gonna market livestock sales. No, market livestock sales raised. I'm gonna choose this one. And then we paid for an equipment loan, which tells me I actually had more than that rake, right? But
Correct. And that should
yeah,
be a negative, right? Because I paid the loan.
yes, yes. I was just thinking before we categorize this one of the, what did we have here? So yeah, let's say that we, at the beginning of the year, apart from that rake, we had, do you know how much that piece of equipment was at the beginning of 2024 so that we can account for it as well here?
I have a whole list here. How many do
Oh,
you want?
well, the one you have the loan for, or do you have more than one equipment loans?
Looks like there's two loans. So it's almost 40,000 that I took out for a loan.
Okay. The second loan we're not really using for this example, I think, right?
Probably
Or
not.
okay. So we're just gonna say this farm for now, at least anyways, for the purposes of this example right now. Um, had two pieces of equipment at the beginning of the year, the rake and the other, what was it? The other,
A baler, bale wrapper, and rake.
okay. So that baler wrapper is still around. We're not selling it or anything. We're just paying for the loan. And well, that actually means that at some point we should have taken the loan, which, all of this is zeros now. So that equipment loans, that would mean, so did you say, do you know if how much was the balance for that loan at the beginning of 2024? Or how much it could have been?
Okay.
If,
Here's the exact amount for all of it. 39,900.
okay, so that sounds like that's what they financed when they first bought it. It was
Yes.
40. Um, we don't know the balance at the beginning of the year. Well, let's assume that that's what they still owed at the beginning of the year because they had just bought it in late 2023. So would you repeat that 39?
39,900.
Okay. So they essentially had a loan for the whole value of that baler, it seems. And they paid. So equipment loans. So, oh, oh, this should have been a negative, which decreased. So this means that at the end of 2024, I owe a little less than what I owed before making the payment. Hopefully that made sense. Um, okay. And that was our last transaction to categorize from the farm checking account. We also should do the same with our savings account. There may be some dividends that we received for money we have in the savings account that should also appear here. This is for petty cash transactions. We're assuming there's none. We did there's typically also depreciation that we may want to account for at the end of the year, but we're going to skip that for now. We have a couple clues here. Negatives, positives don't make a difference. I kind of talked about that. We talked about the inventory adjustments account. And yeah, the depreciation, which we're going to skip for now. We're going to talk that in a separate video because this one is already very long. But so I guess to wrap up the results for this farm, okay, so first, the balance should always be zero. What this is telling me is that in my assets and liabilities, I kind of own a lot of stuff and owe money also, but I should have like an offsetting uh, amount equal to this one at the beginning of the year that someone contributed. Because at some point in time, someone contributed money to the farm. Anyway, it's kind of hard to explain quickly, but I believe that actually duplicated our balance. So it's a distribution, not a contribution. No, it's a negative, either distribution or contribution. Here. So our balance should stay zero, which would mean that between what we owe and what we own, plus what we contributed to the farm at the beginning, the equity, it all adds up to zero. So equity plus assets equals liabilities. This line reflects the farm net worth. this seems to say that at the beginning of 2024, our net worth was 91,800. We owed almost $40,000. We also had that piece of equipment that was around $40,000. So these two offset each other almost. But we had $91 or $91,000 in the bank. So this seems to be accurate, right? Farm net worth, which also kind of is the same as this number. So my net worth at the beginning of the year was this. With my activities of 2024, I increased my net worth by 47,960 to end up with a total net worth of $140,000. So it seems to have been a good year in that regard. There's more to analyze, but that at least gives us a hint. The cash flow or the register flow was $51,000. My income minus my expenses were $52,000. The difference between my register flow and my income and expenses are the purchases and sales of assets. We can talk more about these, but these give you an idea of how much money you made. And they are negative, but they are actually positive. So $77,240 on the expense side. And $129,550 on the income side. What's the difference between those two numbers?
So that would be a gain of 52,310.
Okay, thank you. So our farm income minus expenses were $52,310. Our cash flow is a little less than that because of some of the asset sales that we made. So we do have $51,838 more in our bank accounts than we had at the beginning of the year. I know this is a little confusing with the parentheses, but if you look here, we said that we had $0 in our checking and savings at the beginning of the year because we had nothing recorded here. But if we actually would have said that we had some money there, you can see how it actually increased by 30 plus 14. It increased by exactly 51,838, which is this number. So we have more money at the beginning, at the end of the year than we had at the beginning, and that's why our farm net worth increased. So that's just a quick explanation of how this works. As I said at the beginning, we should be trying to reconcile. So the idea is that all of this would not just like work within the sheet, but also match with a bank statement. Okay, so and we could reconcile our checking, our savings, or whatever other accounts we have. Okay, we're going to stop this video here because it's getting really long, but thank you so much, Kimberly, for your help preparing this example. And thank
You're
you
welcome,
all.
and thank you for including me.
You're welcome. Thank you, all of you there watching the video, and we'll see you soon.